All right, so grades are out now and finals are over. I'm finally recovered from being sick-ish. So figured, yeah, let's talk about it, and I will talk about this in the order of how I felt classes did with finals, and then as I talk about how I felt I did, I will then tell you how I actually ended up doing with my grades right here. So let's talk about it, shall we? To recap for those who may be unfamiliar, law school grades on a curve and every school has what their mandatory means are. For Emory, the mandatory mean is a 3.3, so which is at a B plus level. So to be middle of the pack would be to be getting like straight B pluses. I'm saying that so I can establish like what is a good or poor performance, and where expectations lie versus where they land. We did our finals, like I know grades were due on the 23rd, so the fact that they released today, maybe they just didn't want to spoil some people's Christmases, who knows. But yeah, let's talk about it now. First up, we're going to talk about Civ Pro. That was my first final. It was my first class. Again, I still feel very grateful to have had Professor Freer for Civ Pro, Dean Freer, because I feel like I still got a way better understanding than I would have otherwise. Going into that final, there's some things I know that I kind of forgot about on questions in the multiple choice, especially when it came to things such as not a third-party non-defensive preclusion and what law ruled. So, there that, and with Dean Freer's class, I expected that it's going to, like, I think that curve is more of a cliff. I don't know. He's an incredible instructor. I think I actually did fairly strong on the survey, on the essay itself. But, the essay was 1/3 of it. The multiple choice was 2/3. So, again, I don't get a breakdown of, like, how things went. I need to take a look real quick. Let me see if it even shows, like, I don't think I get my essay back on Canvas. Yeah, so I went into Civ Pro. Fairly confident, fairly strong, and I even left feeling very confident. Like, I figured that there were two classes that if I were to get an A, it would have been in. Civ Pro and Legislation and Regulation felt strongest. What actually happened? I got a B, so that means I came in below median for Dean Freer's class. It's unfortunate, but gotta carry ever onward. So right now it has me at a B, and that was my first final. Then let's go into what my second final was like for Torts. Being a law professor, Torts just must be one of the most fun things to write for when it comes to just trying to come up with batshit insane things to have your people go through. The hypo was fun. Again, multiple choice. It was, I believe, 25 multiple choice and then one essay. And the multiple choice was fine. Like, I honestly left this exam between multiple choice and essay. I was like, if I get a B plus, I will be happy with it because, it felt so convoluted, so out there, and I actually did get a B plus in Torts. So like, I was like, okay, I performed at my expectation for Torts. That was good. So especially coming after the disappointment of not doing as well on Civ Pro. Getting the B plus in Torts, I'm like, all right, cool. I've got some room to recover. My third final was in contracts, and I immediately posted about this because this was 4 essays, and they were weighted choices, and man, on one of these essays, it was a UCC 2207, I think I forgot a real major issue, which is a merchant doesn't necessarily have to be a salesperson. They can just be an expert. And I think I ignored that and completely blew a major part of this exam. It was very interesting. I was like, oh my God, I think I destroyed my grade on this class alone. Um, I was expecting maybe a C, so I was like a C or B minus, and I ended up with a B in contract. So I performed better than I'd thought in contracts, which is great. But again, also so far, you notice all of these are in the 3.0 to 3.3 realm. These are all like I'm not even middle of the pack right now. So let's go into the next grade. And then for my last final, I felt strong about it. It's only a 2-credit course, but you know what? Legislation and regulation, I felt really solid in it. It felt good. I went through, I took the test, and again, leaving it, I was like, okay, you know what? Definitely, again, if I got an A, it would be in either this or Civ Pro. Well, I didn't get an A in this. In fact, this was my lowest grade at a B minus. I don't know if I just completely wrecked the multiple choice or what. I don't know where I face planted. And that's one thing I do, I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Actually, no, I can talk about it now because this is the end of all the actual exams. One thing that I'm not liking is, like, because I don't have anything back, I cannot tell where I face planted. I'm like, okay, what did I not know? Because, again, especially in Civ Pro and legislation and regulation, I thought I was fairly knowledgeable in those areas. Also, again, there's a solid chance I was, and that everybody else was just better. Like, that is one of the weirdest things about this kind of grading system is, like, again, I'm fairly certain that, I wasn't perfect on things, but if everybody else was a lot closer to perfect than I was, then that drags my grade down. The last grade I'll tell you about is my legal writing. So for legal writing, this was not an exam. It was a memo that we turned in beforehand, and honestly, I got some of the harshest criticism in this class. And again, I do feel it's all within the realm of the professor wanting to make us competent legal writers. There was nothing abusive about it. Some words were harsh, sure, but I can't say that I teach any better, so I'm not going to comment on that. It is also another 2-credit class. I'm surprised that legal writing is 2 credits. I feel like legal writing should be a lot more valuable considering it's the thing we're going to be hitting the field doing the most. And once again, I believe, as with other classes, this is a B+ curve, and I was expecting a C, or I was going to be very happy with a B+ or B. I did not expect that I was the strongest legal writer in there. Especially, I'm sure some people have a lot more history of actually doing legal writing. In fact, I know a few people who were significantly better legal writers than me in there. And yeah, I ended up getting a B in the class. So that, again, brings me down. If you look at my grades, that brings my final GPA to 3.038, which means mathematically I'm not even middle of the pack. So what happened? Why did I suck so bad? And again, I want to emphasize that, maybe I didn't suck. Maybe everybody else was just that much better, which is frankly possible. I mean, again, getting into law school is not easy. So everybody here is a top performer at some level. So we'll see how things continue to go. I was nowhere near. I was the way they do it at Emory. The top third will get told that will get a percentile of what their top third was. And I know for the class of 2027, like the lowest of the top third, I think was maybe 3.4. So I'm not even kissing the top 33%. If I'm in the top 50%, that means there's some mathematical wonkiness happening. So yeah, I'm near the bottom of if I'm not near the bottom of the pack, I'm at least hanging out far. I'm at least hanging out close enough to touch it. You know, I do think my biggest weakness is probably time. Like, I wasn't a full-time student. I wish I could be, but I also had to work full-time. That's one of the reasons in the next semester I'm going to try to monetize my time in a way where I can, you know, make some of my income studying, because honestly, if I can get anything close to a Patreon actually up and going, if I can get a regular streaming of my studying up and going, if I can interact, create more content, the amount of time I spend doing that would still be more productive for my legal career as well, or at least my legal student career as well, opposed to having to spend hours upon hours driving endlessly through Atlanta delivering food. Is it going to be tough? Yes, but it's something I've got to try to do. Like, I didn't make this a secret. I really didn't study for finals. As soon as we were out of class, I was busy working so that I could afford to stay in, so that I could afford to stay in the house. So I was working to try to get things taken care of. It sucks. Again, it puts me in a disadvantageous position. And yeah, I have no one to blame but me. I wish it turned out better. It didn't. Not gonna wallow in it. Gonna just gotta keep moving forward and try to do what's best. Now, as far as going forward, I do think I may have an advantage in the next semester. When it comes to con law and criminal law, that is an area where I'm a little more familiar, especially criminal law, even though it's on the criminal side. So I'm hoping that gives me some slight advantage when it comes to the material. I am really hoping that the Introduction to Legal Advocacy, our legal writing takes on I know the professor hates if I say this, and if you're watching, I know you hate this, but I mean, it's the way I've got to look at it. You know, there is a performance aspect. There is a defense and brief aspect. And as one of the most extroverted people I know, just in general, not even within law school, I think I might have a distinct edge when it comes to that sort of thing. Also, I have employment law, which is something I chose. And I'm hoping that my experiences serve in being able to do that. But otherwise, I'm going to keep pushing forward. So to quote the philosopher Axl Rose, where do we go now? Where do we go? I have to return to Atlanta next week, get things ready. One of the first things I have to do is I need to get myself set up in a sort of routine to use all the advantages the school will give me. Like, I've got to get myself to the library as much as possible. I've got to try to get myself into the medical system so I can, you know, make sure I'm not trying to stretch my meds thin. I've got to get myself in the gym, get myself in a good, healthy body routine too. I need to do all the writing I possibly can outside of even class. I need to figure out having some kind of a study routine. I feel like towards the end of this last semester, I did finally start getting it, but that might have been a bit late as well. So, uh, yeah, I'm hoping I can take everything from last semester that I learned and really turn in a hell of a performance when it comes to this semester. It's going to be an uphill fight because even, let's just say, I ended up getting all A pluses in my next classes going forward. That would bring me up to only a 3.7. If I got all A's, that would bring me up to closer to a 3.5. And that might edge me into the top third of my class, but there's a good chance it wouldn't. This is going to be a struggle. I face planted. I did. And that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but what am I gonna do about it but try to do better next time? Like, it's not the end of the world. It sucks. It's gonna make things a whole hell of a lot harder going forward, but it's not the end of the world. But with that, should I leave you with some final thoughts on the semester itself? Well, law school's interesting. It is like it does feel weirdly competitive, although at the same time I feel like not a lot of people really want to do the compete part. They just, want to do the best they can, but unfortunately the best they can do is also guided by how other people are doing, and that is an unfortunate reality of this particular industry field, whatever you want to call it. It's not an environment that feels like it really suits me, but again, I'm in a situation where I need to, like, I need to perform as well as possible. And again, puts me in this whole realm of who even knows. As far as my poor performance goes, I have no one to blame on myself-ish. Like, could I have chosen a situation where I wouldn't have had to be working nearly as hard throughout the school year? Sure. Could I have been a little better in my budgeting to make sure that the final month and a half wasn't full of stress? Again, yes, but life does happen, and I try to do my damnedest to overcome it. Is there any advice I can give anybody? Again, I just told you, I'm less than mid. I am probably not the person you want to come to for advice. It does suck, but if you have a strong support system, it'll help. If you have those out there able to assist you, get the assistance. Take any advantage you can going into these. Speaking of any advantage, I know there's been a big accommodations talk, and full disclosure, I am somebody who gets accommodations, and it's not a magical pill to suddenly do better. I get them because I need them. Something I do wish I had done that, again, this just came down to time. It wasn't based on the availability of professors, because the professors did make themselves very available to us, but I wish I'd have been able to do more office hours. I wish I'd have been able to bring more of that energy with me, but alas, I didn't. Was that part of my detriment? I don't know. Possibly. There's no reason to believe it wouldn't have helped. Am I satisfied with how I did? Absolutely not. But is that going to stop me from continuing to drive down this road and share it with you? No. You don't just need to see the successes. You need to see when I suck too. Because you know what? I'm going to suck a lot. And sharing with you guys kind of helps me get over it. So, again, guys, thanks for stopping by the channel, stopping by the socials. Peace out, party peoples. I love y'all. And guess I got a week and a half to unfuck myself before the next semester. So, Peace out, party peoples. I will see you next time. Be sure to check out The Broke Law Student. If you suddenly see Patreon buttons go up, you'll know that I'm actually finally making shit happen. Hope to see you guys in a more live format in the new year. Stay safe. No torts.